is March 21st, and I haven't made any videos or anything for a couple days since last Tuesday on the 14th when I had my trigger and ultrasound and all of that stuff. A little bit of an update. Over the weekend I started to have some ovary pain, a lot like the pain from ovulation, but a little bit different. And so OHSS, which is ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome, sorry, it's a mouthful for me, is very rare with someone who's on Clomid, even with the trigger shot, although the trigger shot ups your chances of getting it. And I was aware of that, but I was convinced, I had a mild case. It was nothing severe or out of control, so it was nothing that I was like freaking out about. So I actually emailed my doctor's office yesterday and just kind of clued them into everything that I had going on, and she actually thinks that I had something called a hemorrhagic corpus luteum or hemorrhagic ovulation, which basically just means that when the one or both of the follicles burst to release the egg, that there was some bleeding, and that blood can be inside the uterus, or not the uterus, inside the ovary, and it can also be released, it can be right where the follicle bursts and release into the pelvic cavity and cause some irritation and all of that stuff. She said that because my pain has decreased, she's not worried or, concerned about anything. So that's really, really good. And it doesn't decrease your chances of pregnancy or anything like that. So that's also excellent. But what's crazy is, I'll go ahead and insert a picture and explain it now. And so I've been testing out the HCG from the trigger shot to make sure that, it was going through my system so that when I did test, I could be sure that it, if I got a positive, that it was in fact pregnancy and not the HCG from the trigger. Well, yesterday's was almost completely negative. It was like super squinter when it dried. Mine have dried darker than they were, in the time frame. And even after it dried, barely visible, and you'll see that in the picture that I insert. And today I was completely expecting it to either be the same or completely stark white negative. Not the case. The one today is at least 2 times, if not 3 or 4 times darker than yesterday's. And I'm 7 days past trigger. The way that I think things happened, when I woke up Wednesday morning after the trigger and everything, I still had pain in my ovary, like ovulation pain, but it was, the pressure and the pain was significantly less. So what I think is Thursday night, sometime while I was sleeping, I released one of the follicles, probably the really, really big one that was 2.9 or 29 millimeters. And I think that one released Tuesday night, and I think the other one released sometime on Wednesday. And so I'm between 6 and 7 days past ovulation, but 7 days past trigger. But this line is dark it looks like 3 to 4 days past trigger. And I was like, there's no way. And I've taken all of my tests with second morning urine. The difference between first morning urine and second morning urine the day after the trigger was profound. It was ridiculous. So I've done all of my tests with second morning urine to keep that consistent so that I know, that everything is, is as equal as it can possibly be. So I did the one with second morning urine today, and I was like, that's darker than yesterday. And I compared them, and it's way darker than yesterday's. So we'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic. I feel like this is very, very early to be getting any kind of positive 7 DPO. I know a lot of women get their first positive at 8 DPO. And there is a very high likelihood that I have twins. If I am pregnant, there's a very high likelihood that we have twins. But one is probably about 12 hours younger, I guess, than the other one. I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but yeah, I'm like, I know that this video is probably going to sound awful because I can't really wrap my head around it yet. It definitely got darker, and you'll see that in the picture that I insert. I'll also include a picture of my progression from one day past trigger until now. And, you know, of course, I'm going to just keep testing and, you know, see what comes of it. There's always a possibility that, you know, it's just a fluke, and you know, for whatever reason, it just showed up really dark today. Maybe this test is more sensitive. I don't know. But that is unlikely only because I took another test less than 2 hours later. And it was the same color, same darkness as the one that I took this morning. And so I'm very cautiously optimistic. I may be looking at our big fat positive, and you know, my fingers are crossed, and I'm super excited and giddy and happy. But I'm also trying not to get my hopes up because, like I said, this is very early. I have a lot of thoughts running through my head, and I'm just kind of rambling, so I will spare you guys the rest of my rambling, and I will keep you guys updated. And so here's the picture of my progression and the difference between yesterday and today's test. Do keep in mind that in the picture you can tell that the test from yesterday is obviously dry, and the test from today is not quite dry yet. Here are the pictures, and I will talk to you guys later.